On April 24th, 1967, the 37-year-old astronaut Vladimir Komarov entered the history books for a very tragic reason. He became the first person to die in the race for space. Komarov had been chosen to ride aboard Soyuz 1, the Soviets' newest and most advanced spacecraft, designed to beat the Americans to the moon. Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space and Komarov's best friend, was chosen as his backup. But as the launch date approached, it was clear to Komarov and Gagarin that the untested spacecraft wasn't ready. The 3 previous unmanned Soyuz test flights had failed, and it looked like this new spacecraft was no better. It was shoddily constructed, and the engineering team identified more than 200 serious structural problems, including the parachutes, which repeatedly failed to deploy. Komarov's spacecraft was, as one Russian official would later call it, a piece of shit. Komarov and Gagarin drafted a letter outlining their concerns. They asked that the mission be postponed until the engineering issues could be properly addressed. However, their appeal fell on deaf ears. The Soviets wanted a bold triumph to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Communist Revolution. The mission would go forward. Komarov told a colleague that he was not going to make it back from his flight. When asked why he didn't simply refuse the mission, Komarov said that if he did, Gagarin would have to go and die in his place, and he would not do that to his best friend. Before his flight, as Komarov conducted his pre-flight checks inside the capsule, Gagarin showed up at the launch pad, demanding to take his friend's place. But he was a national hero, and there was no way that was ever going to happen. Komarov's launch went off without a hitch. But after more than a day in orbit, he was wrestling with malfunction after malfunction. The spacecraft's solar arrays failed to properly deploy. The steering was compromised. The communication equipment was not functioning properly, and the batteries were running dangerously low. Soviet ground control ordered Komarov to cut his mission short and return to Earth. After 18 agonizing orbits, Komarov fired his retro rockets and headed for home. After making it safely through the Earth's upper atmosphere, and with the Russian countryside finally opening up beneath him, Komarov deployed his parachutes to slow his descent. But nothing happened. The chute deployed, but didn't inflate. Luckily, Komarov had a manually activated reserve chute for just this sort of emergency, which he yanked loose, but it instantly became tangled with the trailing primary chute. Traveling at nearly 90 miles per hour, Soyuz 1 smashed into the Russian steppes like a 3-ton meteorite. A rescue helicopter found the wreckage by following a massive tower of black smoke. The capsule was burning so hot that the metal was molten. And just a note of warning, this next image may be difficult to see. What was left of Komarov looked like a massive marshmallow burned to a misshapen cinder over a campfire. Before his departure, he stipulated that if anything should happen to him, his funeral would be open casket, so that the Soviet leadership would be unable to hide what they had done.
Stay curious, my friends.